Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to look at one of the most enduring myths about Egypt. The myth that the pyramids were built by slaves. Were they? Let's take a look at the evidence. The idea that the pyramids were built by slaves is a relatively recent one. It first appeared in the writings of the Greek historian Herodotus in the 5th century BC. According to Herodotus, the Egyptian pharaohs forced their subjects to work on the pyramids as a form of punishment. This myth has persisted through the centuries and can still be found in popular culture today. However, there is no evidence to support this claim. In fact, the evidence suggests that the opposite is true. The pyramids were built by paid laborers who were treated well, not slaves. The ancient Egyptians kept detailed records of the construction projects, and these records showed that the workers were paid for their labor. They were also provided with food and housing. What's more, many of the workers were skilled craftsmen who had to be experts in their field to work on such a monumental project. It would make no sense for the Egyptians to use slaves to build the pyramids, because it would have been far more expensive than paying laborers. Not to mention the Egyptians wouldn't have had the necessary workforce to build the pyramids if they had relied on slavery. There is a scene in the movie Gladiator where Russell Crowe's character is building a pyramid in the Egyptian desert, and he says, "How can you build a pyramid in the desert? There aren't enough slaves in Egypt to build a pyramid." Well, that's actually not true. There were plenty of slaves in Egypt, but they weren't used to build the pyramids. Instead, they were used for other tasks such as working in the fields or serving in the pharaoh's household. In fact, the Egyptians kept detailed records of the number of slaves they owned, and these records showed that the number of slaves in Egypt never came close to the number of workers needed to build the pyramids. One possibility is that Herodotus was simply repeating what the Greeks had said about the Egyptians. The Greeks and Egyptians had been rivals for centuries, and the Greeks had a habit of spreading rumors about the Egyptians to make them look bad. Another possibility is that Herodotus was influenced by the fact that the Egyptians kept slaves. He may have assumed that they used slaves to build the pyramids because he knew that they kept slaves for other purposes. Whatever the reason, this myth has no basis in reality. The pyramids were not built by slaves. They were built by paid laborers who were treated well. I hope you enjoyed learning about the myth that the pyramids were built by slaves. If you did, please subscribe to my channel so you can learn about more amazing historical myths and legends.